is News at 10 live, coming to you from TV3 with Kenneth Osei Ampofo. It's just within the day that the first day of 2013, the president has spoken, has discussed issues about allowing the youth to be a part of nation building. And this evening we have in the studio Seth, Oteng, who is the executive director of Youth Bridge Foundation, and we will discuss the empowerment and how the youth can contribute positively towards the development of Ghana. Good evening and welcome to TV3.
Thank you very much.
Well, this is News at 10. I think we listened to the President of the Republic of Ghana, John Dramani Mahama, talking about how the youth can also contribute to developing the country Ghana. How do you assess this one?
I must say that in the spirit of the African Youth Charter and the National Youth Policy, African youth are considered a great resource for the continent's development. However, achieving a democratic dividend does not come easy. It's not automatic. There must be conscious effort. So for the President's Excellency John Mahama to put youth issues in his a nation address, I think it's commendable. But there must be practical steps taken to make sure that it does not become a rhetoric.
Exactly. So talking about practical steps, let's delve into that. How?
I think there are two. One, as I mentioned, the mere mention of the issues of youth, it is commendable. It means that there is a step for us to hold the government on. And let's look at the statement. I love the point where he starts by saying that we have a blank page. Let's forget about the past. Let's forget about the errors, the mistakes of the past. There's a blank page, 2013, the beginning. But there are five issues he talked about relating to the youth that I would like to draw attention. Is especially, he called on Ghanaians, especially the youth, to be active, to play, or to be an active part of nation building. Exactly. That is one. Two, to take ownership of the country. So playing an active part, you're talking about participation and representation. Exactly. That's something we need to look at. The Ghana or Africa hitherto has been bedeviled by long-term marginalization. Right. You know, the African culture says, you know, the big guys are talking, let the young guys stay outside. Exactly. This has prolonged and has led to extended youth marginalization. So they get there to play an active part. They are not adequately prepared to play the part. The second thing is taking ownership. Yes, a blank page. Let us take ownership. But it comes with preparedness, readiness, teaching, learning, mentorship of the elder. Then he said we should join in the authorship of a story, and he said our story. That is calling for patriotism. Exactly. It's a challenge on the youth that we have a role to play, and you call on the youth to leave to leave your mark on this page. So this is a blank page. We have a story, innovation, supporting entrepreneurship, and it's a let us together, one people, one nation, write a chapter together. So there's a blend, I see a blend between the youth and the experience of the matured. Dialogue and mutual understanding, I think, is the way to go.
Great. Now, talking about all these, when ownership comes in here, patriotism comes in, what is the contribution? What is the preparation? How well have we prepared the platform for the youth to take advantage of the many opportunities that are there to contribute towards the development of the nation?
I think from the executive level, the president has the opportunity to continue what His Excellency Atta Mills of blessed memory started, giving the young a chance to be in cabinet, to play ministerial role. Right. They have their hands to bend, let them learn. But I think they equally have to learn from the experienced ones and manage arrogance. That is one. I expect him to continue that trend, more ministers, blending with the matured ones. That's the executive level. At the legislature, if you look at it, we have the Seth Kwame champions of the MPP, the Don Press, in Sama Dweji district, you have the Fifi Kwetes, you have the many young who are having the chance to be in parliament. Right. Now, they are going to work alongside the Honorable Chi, Bonsu, the experienced ones.
They have been there for such a long time.
So, at the legislature level, these young ones have never had it. They've not been trained. So I think that there must be some kind of mentorship. They must submit themselves. In Parliament, I believe that if they start looking, putting the issues of youth development at the fore, then put aside party colors, blend, create a dialogue with the young ones outside Parliament to engage, I think that we will be making a hand. They learn in Parliament, they'll be burning their hands as they go, as they learn how to grow, or to walk.
Yeah.
They'll do that. And then they move from one step to the other. But there must also be a platform for the youth outside Parliament to engage the young parliamentarians, that we can hold them accountable, that they are not just pushing party colors, but in the interest of youth development.
But has this platform been created?
No. We were privileged to hold a number of policy dialogues prior to the election that was sponsored by the UNDP.
Yeah.
And one issue that came out was very clear, that yes, they had opportunity, they were there, but they were never engaged by the youth. And we think that one lesson we have picked is that there must be that platform where young ministers, young parliamentarians must have the opportunity to engage the youth on non-partisan platform outside. That way, we'll be training the youth to come and take such positions. Unless we get to that process of learning, conscious efforts of youth participation and representation, do away with the long-term marginalization, take advantage of a relatively younger president compared to age in Africa, to place the issues of youth at the forefront. Unless we create that platform, I think we'll have a long way to go.
Right. Let's take a look at some of the youth who are part of government. They've been part of Professor Atta Mills of Blessed Memories government. We have James Ajenim Boateng, who's one of the young ministers. We also have Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa. Let's take a look at how they performed when they were in government from the beginning until now. How do you see them? Have they performed to your expectation or to the expectations of Ghanaians creditably?
I would say, Ken, this would not be a point to score. Like I said, there's been long-term marginalization. They've never had the opportunity to be trained, to be groomed. But given the chance, I think for me it's wonderful. It's the beginning of that. For a second term, you would expect them to do better. Others did extremely well, perfect. I wouldn't mention names.
I dare you to do that.
Ghana is growing up. Obviously did quite well. To have maintained his position without being reached upon. Others made mistakes. You have the party colors and being groomed. At some point, they bend their hands, make some errors as the times passed. So I would say that they have done perfectly well, having lost or missed out the opportunity of being groomed ahead of taking their position. I can tell you, if this process or this pattern continues, and then their engagement in Parliament is deepened, I think that we'll make a headway. So I wouldn't score them. It's a learning process. Yes.
Let's take a look at the youth. For example, when you take a look at the Parliament that Ghana is going to inaugurate in a short while from now, probably a few days, you can name a number of people who have joined Parliament. And you can name Sena Okiti is there, Richard Koshiga is there, Fifi Kwete, Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa, Adjoa Safo, a number of them.
Yes.
Now, let's quickly take a look at these people. What do you expect them to do in Parliament in terms of representing their people and getting for them what the people deserve?
I think you see, unless youth issues, at the recent, in September 12th, the Conference of Ministers of States responsible for youth in Africa met in Ethiopia. Their decision was that Africa cannot achieve the democratic dividend of this youthful population unless much attention is paid to the youth issues, youth empowerment, youth participation, representation, and the things that are dear or that are important to the youth development. Now, I would expect these young parliamentarians, non-partisan approach, possibly, like I say, I'm calling for the youthful or young parliamentarian caucus, where, from a non-partisan approach, they will look dispassionately the issues of youth development, and they can hold even the executive accountable for some of the bills. So I would expect that. It might be new, but it's something that if created, then the youth outside would know that we have our own in Parliament representing the youth interest. I will cite an example. We had, as part of the youth policy dialogue in the northern region.
Yeah.
Remember, it was one of the best times we had in the Bolgatam, the upper east and the northern region.
Yeah.
When it was about talking youth development, NDC, NPP, youth, both sections were united. We did not need the police to be present at the forum. So we realized that when it concerns youth development, financing entrepreneurship, what are the expectations of the graduates coming up? What plans are going to be made in June when they write their final exams? What do we have to tell them? By the time they graduate, the national service personnel will be out in August. What is happening? What is happening? 240,000 barrels minimum enters the labor market annually. What jobs? Where are the jobs? These are the things I would expect the young parliamentarians to be engaged to look at passionately what to do for youth development and youth empowerment.
But the issue of looking at things dispassionately and from the area of politics is something that trickles down from the top, because when you take a look at governance, it's so partisan that people think that I belong to this party, I belong to that party, and even when we are in Parliament, if something needs to be discussed, I need to side with my party. Do you think that when we do this, we can continuously let it trickle down to the youth for them to see themselves as generally Ghanaians, but not belonging to this party or that, and work together? That is the underlying factor that we need to be working at. How can we get this thing done for Ghana to see ourselves as one, but not divided people?
You know, the media, the youth in the media, have failed to hold politicians accountable for the very promises they made before election. Can we go back? Can we have a monitoring mechanism of the very promises they made at the constituency level? Can we create a platform for youth engagement? Let's say every 6 months, what have you done? This is the barometer. What have we achieved? And I would love to see that platform created, where the youth, both NDC, NPP, PPP, UFP, all the PNC, all the youth across the country coming together, creating a common platform, engaging the parliamentarians to say that these are the things that are dear to our heart. What are you doing? Let them come. Let them make promises. Let us look at how they push the bills that concerns youth, financing youth development, youth entrepreneurship. What are the options? Education. What are the options? Employment. You know, there are a lot of funds, dissemination of various allocations of funds that exist, and even creativity, tapping into the creative ingenuity of the Ghanaian. We are not doing it. But I think because there's no mechanism to hold the parliamentarians accountable, to hold them responsible for the very promises they make. But if we create and the youth in the media can begin holding these people accountable, I think that, for me, it begins by the president's laudable statement here. We have something to hold him accountable during the year.
Exactly.
We go back to Parliament. Let us begin to hold the parliamentarians accountable. I expect a lot from the young parliamentarians, and I'm glad